What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes reporting for duty here. This is a good one, man. This is one of our all-time favorite fighters who just recently stepped away from the sport. Now, to be clear, he's not retiring for good. He's just moving on from combat sports. I follow him on Twitter and Instagram. I already see the next pages he's turning to in real estate, and we'll see what else he's got up his sleeve. Matt, first, congrats on a fabulous career. Your decision to hang up the gloves. Take us through it though. You know, your last fight was about a year ago. What recently happened where you came to the conclusion that you needed to step away from mixed martial arts?
I'd say there wasn't like a single thing, but there was a few different factors. For one, like the UFC did make me an offer a few months ago for a fight. When I got the email, I remember I woke up in the morning and I seen the email, and my dick didn't get hard, like I didn't get it filled down my spine. I wasn't excited, you know what I mean? And I was like, man, I could use that money. That'd be cool. But I just didn't get fired up about it. So that was probably the first thing. And then secondly, in terms of, like you said, flipping houses and running a gym now, I feel like I have a good crews of people, good staff at my gym, good crews, and doing my rehabs and stuff. And I really feel like I'm selling these people short, because I keep fighting, and these businesses are not growing to the extent that they could because I'm not putting that kind of energy into it. I'm just going for that quick buck and going making money fighting. And it's really, my guys at my gym have been with me the 6 years that I've owned it, and they've gotten very small raises the whole time. I feel like I could make a lot more money, not only for myself, but for them also. And we also have a lot of customers that, I don't really get to hang out with and speak to as much. And I just feel like I'm selling a lot of people short, including my family, my children, you know, the ability to be present with them, the ability to spend more time with them and things like that.
So had it been a bigger name, I guess, you would have seriously considered it, or do you think you were still headed in this direction? Like, what was that the deciding factor? Was it just wasn't a big enough of a name, or was by them not giving you the name, that's when you came to the realization that you really just aren't into it and you want to start doing everything you just explained to us?
Yeah, it didn't really matter the name. Like my contract, I get paid what I get paid, so it didn't really matter the name. The only thing that I was kind of holding off for was I thought that I was going to get on UFC 300 and fight Jim Miller, and I was going to use that for my send off. Like I was pretty dead set on that. Like I'm gonna fight Jim Miller on UFC 300. This would be the most badass send off ever. Fighting such a legend like Jim Miller on the biggest card in UFC history, and they didn't make it happen. So I was like, well, fuck it then.
Obviously, I'm curious. Goes is curious. Fans are curious. What can you share? What was the offer for what show, and what was the name? Can you share that?
I don't remember, honestly.
Okay.
I don't even. I remember it was Max Griffin was the name. I don't remember the date or the show or anything.
Did you ever feel like would a BMF fight would that have ever been of interest to you? Because every time it came up, I just thought, wow, I can think of one like Matt Brown, and I know I wasn't the only one, but would something like that have been down your alley at this point in your career? Because I think a lot of us regard you as a BMF.
I don't know. Like, I guess there's like a good branding aspect to that, and you can kind of use that to propel your brand and make money. So in that sense, it's kind of cool, but I don't know. I think it's kind of a gimmicky, and I don't know. It doesn't really, the whole BMF title thing doesn't really do it for me. Um, it's kind of silly. Like the BMF is the guy with the real belt, right? Like that's the baddest motherfucker, isn't it?
I suppose you're right. Yeah.
Like,
that's
if
a
you're not
conversation we've had.
beating the champion, then how are you the BMF?
We actually had this conversation because we were talking about Taporia, and we were saying, well, like if he were to beat Holloway, just take that belt and put it back into circulation because it doesn't make any sense for that guy to have both. Like he's already kind of that guy because he's at the top of the division. But so I want to ask you this, Matt. you're leaving the UFC, but does that mean you're leaving combat sports? If say a karate combat or a BKFC, Mike Perry, someone like that, would you be interested in those type of fights at all?
It's not out of the question. I've talked with a little bit with those people, and it's not completely out of the question. Again, it doesn't really bare knuckle doesn't excite me a ton because it's just boxing, only hands, which doesn't excite me a ton. But if the money's right, obviously, I'm not going to turn down a big payday. Um, I wish that there was like a Muay Thai promotion that would pay that kind of money, like one championship or something, because that's honestly what makes me the most fired up is Muay Thai, and that's what I love doing the most. But um, I wouldn't say it's like completely out of the question, but my mindset's really not in the fighting mindset right now. It's really in a business mindset. I feel like that's the season of my life now is giving back and serving others and building businesses, man. I've come to love business as much, if not more, than I ever loved fighting. Um, of course, my heart and soul and my core is in fighting, but I can fight multiple ways. It doesn't have to be with fists. So, I can fight through business, and I really love running the business, and it's very, in terms of real estate and the gym business. The gym business is the most rewarding thing I've ever done, the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. Touching so many people, strengthening the community and helping people, whether it's lose weight or just therapy for their heart, body, and soul. I've seen so many people sober up and see so many people lead better lives after a year or whatever being in my gym. So that's been a very powerful, motivating force for me, and it really feels good. So that's really more where my mindset is. And again, if the number was right, which I just don't think any of these places will give me that number. Um, if it was like Floyd Mayweather or something, right, and like get 5-6 mil or something, like of course I'm not going to turn that down. But something like anything under a mil really just doesn't even make sense to me.
Matt, I've heard a lot of artists before talk about like certain bands and going to a concert and hearing a song or something and saying that's kind of what turned my life around. When I hear you talk about business, is there anything that you can point to, like a moment in business that made you say,
Mhm.
holy crap, like I really like the moment that you fell in love with business? Is there a moment you can point to?
The business itself, no. That's been a long time coming. My family is all business people. My dad owned a business. Both my uncles owned businesses. My grandpa owned a business. We've all been entrepreneurs. So that was kind of all natural in my life. But in terms of the gym, I could name a few moments actually where I was speaking to kids. One particular, and it's not like a profound story or anything, but the kid, I remember him coming in, his mom talking about him being bullied, and um, the kid wouldn't look me in the eyes, very shy, had a hard time even getting him on the mats. And then we finally got him on the mats and started taking classes. And I remember coming back, checking on him a couple months later. I just get on the mats and he's there. And the kid, he's got his chest puffed out. He, fist bumps me, look at me in the eyes. And moments like that are what really turned me, because realizing that I just built a fork in this kid's road where he was headed down a certain path and it probably wasn't going to look good for him. And now I just built a fork in his road and he's on a different path. He's on a path of strength and discipline and power. And that's the most fulfilling thing I've ever felt in my life. I've seen it in my own children, and I've seen it in so many other kids that um, it just really strikes a chord in me, man. And you know, but again, like for business itself, again, I think that's just natural in me. So I just really enjoy doing that.
That's awesome, man. What about the walkout in a fight, the actual fight, hearing Bruce Buffer say your name, that intensity, whatever's running through your body. Have you found anything outside of mixed martial arts that kind of replicates it? Some people go skydiving, hiking. Like, is there anything even close to that?
Yeah, maybe cocaine. That's right, right. But that's why I say that, because that's what fighting is. It's a drug, and what you're doing is you're trying to reach that high that you got the first time you did it, or when you're at your peak in fighting, right? When you're getting close to a title, or for me, like on a win streak, getting close to a title, and you're constantly trying to get back to that, and you just can't really do it. I mean, maybe some people can, but I don't think it's in the cards for me. I don't think I'm gonna do another title run or anything. So you're basically chasing a high that's not going to come. So with that said, now these highs that we get when we walk into a fight is a gigantic high for a short amount of time. But when I talk about helping these kids and that that warming of your heart when you speak to these kids, the way it makes you feel, those are little highs, but they're regular. It's a slow trickle of constantly, yeah, I'm getting that all the time, hearing these people, hearing their lives change, and hearing these stories of again sobering up, and these people excuse me, these people sobering up, these people just living better, stronger lives, talking to me all the time. These are the constant little trickles that when you add them all together, they match that high, but you don't get that high in the one singular moment like you do in fighting.
Well, you definitely had a lot of those highs. Of your
Yeah.
24 wins, 22 were finishes. And I mean, you have to scroll down to see when the last time you went to a decision. And then when you look at it, you're like, well, shit, Thompson's really a really tough puzzle to solve. Just, I guess, what's your best memory? Whether it's because of the actual stoppage or location or opponent. What's your best or some of your greatest memories?
Definitely my best memory was when I fought in Cincinnati, US Bank Arena. And there's a few reasons for that. For one, it was against Erik Silva, main event. So all the eyes were on me. The main event is fucking awesome. And as I'm sure you guys remember, like, it was a great fight.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, just an epic fight all
Double
around.
bonus.
Yeah. And I'm not even saying it to my own horn. That was a fucking badass fight, right? But also, this close to my hometown, a lot of my family's in Kentucky. There's more of my family at that fight than there is at my family reunions. My kids were there. They were very young at the time, but they came into the octagon after. But some of my other immediate family came in the octagon after. We went to breakfast the next morning, and the entire restaurant was filled with my family. So that was definitely the best moment for me.
What about your exiting the sport? Do you leave on a good note? Some fighters, we find out, are leaving, rather bitter. Maybe they feel like, the way they were treated with the UFC. You had a long run with them. You were beloved by the fans. On your end, is it like a firm handshake? You were in business together and you leave happy Matt Brown or bitter Matt Brown? What how you feeling?
Well, there's definitely no bitterness. Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it, man. The Dana and the UFC, they have built an absolute monster, and they've done an amazing job with business. Of course, like, you can get into the fighter pay arguments and stuff, and I'm all for the fighters. I do believe we should get paid more, and I do believe that, the way. But if you look at the other side, like the way Dana and them are running it, I mean, that's how you run business, and that's how you build a monster like that. So they're doing a great job, and I'm grateful for everything that they've done for me. And I'm happy with it. So, no real complaints from me. They gave me a platform to build my brand on. And it's up to me to take advantage of that in the future. So, I'm happy with it. No bitterness whatsoever for me. It's just time to move on. Different season of life, time to move on to bigger, better things.
You said your phone blew up, ran out of juice.
Yeah.
What were those messages like? Was there anyone that stood out to you, whether it was the words they shared, or who it was?
Well, when I went through the Instagram comments, because I had my notifications turned on, and my phone was just so many, and I was going through the comments. There wasn't really necessarily one particular that stood out, but just some of the legends and some of the fellow colleagues of mine, fighters that were commenting that I didn't even really know followed me or cared about what I do. And I guess kind of the odd part, like I was telling Ghost a minute ago, was like, everybody says congratulations, and I'm like, here I am feeling like kind of depressed and down about it, and I'm like, I don't know. Congratulations just feels so awkward to me because like I'm kind of sad right now. I shed a little tear, man, after I posted that,
Yeah.
So, it's Matt Brown can cry, apparently. I didn't know that I could, but I found out that there are tears in there somewhere. So a little tear shed, and but I'm comfortable with it too.
I think the congrats comes from congrats on a great career and congrats on making a difficult decision yet being at peace with it. Like Ghost said earlier, could this be the end? And you obviously left the door slightly open towards maybe another sport if the money's right, because like you said, you're turning the page. You're a businessman. Matt Brown means something, and if fans want to pay to Matt Brown to compete again, okay, then you'll do it. But I think that's where the congrats comes from, is you're kind of doing it in such a um respectful way, and I bet you a lot of athletes would like to exit like you did. And even going back to your last fight, I don't know if it mattered to you or not, but it was a win, it was a finish, so like you left with a smile on your face.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's a good perspective on it, and I didn't really think about it that way. I just thought everybody saying congratulations, like, hey, that's awesome, you must have so much money and you're gonna golf and chill in Florida for the rest of your life. And I'm like, no, like, I still gotta bust my ass every day, man. Probably gonna be working more now than I was before.
And one last thing here about this, I'm not doubting you. You do seem like a man of your word, but do you already inform Drug Free Sport International? Don't bother testing. Do you submit retirement paperwork? What about that part of it all? Like, or do you say keep bringing it just in case I change my mind in 6 months?
No, I've already done that before. That's the kind of funniest thing about it. So I actually called Sean Shelby about a month ago or whatever. I was like, hey, I'm retiring. And I was like, do I need to send an email or a letter? What do I need to do? And I didn't ever hear anything back from him. And then when I posted on social media, it was like 2 hours later, the drug test people, I forget whatever they're called, George Piro, sent me a letter saying, okay, you're officially out of the pool. And I was like, what if I was just psyching y'all out on social media? Like, because it crossed my mind actually after I posted it. I was like, I could just a couple hours later just go back by psych, fighting in 6 weeks, bitches. But I'm out of the pool now, so I guess I don't have the choice. They kind of made it for me.
I want to clean up a few things because I think fans will be pissed at us for not following up. But was your heart really set on 300 or more on Jim Miller at 300? You kind of deserved to be on something like 3 Miller. I mean, you scroll back, you were on UFC 88 after you did the Ultimate Fight. I mean, like, you literally logged a long tenure in the UFC. And when fighters do that, I feel like they deserve the type of respect to at least be considered for what they want towards the end of their career.
I'll tell you what, if there was anything, like you asked about being bitter, I'm not bitter by any means, but if there was anything that kind of rubbed me the wrong way is that I wasn't able to get on 300 because that's how I wanted to end it. I begged to get on 100. I begged to get on 200. I begged to get on 300. I was like, dude, haven't I earned like something yet? So I tried everything I could, and I thought it was set in stone. I was literally training to fight Jim Miller. I mean, he said he wanted to fight me. I said I wanted to fight him. I thought all the cards were in place. I thought that it was going to be a easy call, and then it didn't happen. So that would have been the perfect send off for me. I'm sure the UFC has their reasons, whatever they are. So again, I'm not bitter about it necessarily, but if there's anything I could go back and maybe I should have told them like I want to retire on 300 or something. I don't know, but it is what it is at this point.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I wanted to say, I think we can all agree that Silva fight was epic. I'm glad you said that one because it was probably my favorite ones, although you just provided so many highlights. But what I did want to ask you was, I think it's Hall of Fame worthy. How about you?
Oh, me? Yeah. Why not? I think it's cool. I'm not really like one of those guys that like set on being in a Hall of Fame, whatever. If I do, it's cool. If not, whatever. It just kind of is what it is, man. Like I don't need recognition for what I did. I do what I do for my own personal reasons. I don't need people to, bow down and thank me for it or pump me up or put me in a Hall of Fame or anything like that. Just my mind just doesn't work that way. So it'd be great if I do and be cool. you know, be a good ego boost. Get to tell people I'm in the Hall of Fame. You know, maybe something I can, you know, good conversation piece on a date or something. But you know, I don't really care that much, to be honest.
Okay, Matt, I'm gonna hold you to that because I'm gonna tell you something. I think that fight has a good chance of making the Hall of Fame one day. And you wait till your family's in front of you and you're up there. That'll be the second time Matt Brown cries. Uh, it'll all come out then, and a lot of people in the audience will have moist eyes, including yours truly. Those are just outstanding memories of why we all show up to just see two people compete at a high level. And it was back and forth. We got to give Silva his due as well. He showed up that day, and in the end, you know, somebody was just the better man. But like, we don't forget it. And think about how many fights we processed between UFC, PFL, Bellator, one championship, all the other ones, you know, and then even some of the latest combat sports like BKFC, but some just stand out. That's what makes it special. And you were one half of that party.
Well, that means a lot to me, for real, man. And again, hopefully everybody could just take that and use it as inspiration. You know, I'm a kid that come from a very, very small town, population of 200. You know, I went through the shit, drugs, overdosing, and then I got up to almost the highest level. You know, I fought the highest level guys, almost got to a title shot against the toughest sons of bitches on this planet. And if anybody could take that story and realize that they can do anything that they put their mind to, then that's what it really means to me, more so than me getting the credit for anything. I hope that it can inspire others, and because that's just the season of life that I'm in. That's the way that I feel about the rest of my life. The first half of my life has been me building myself up, fighting, competing, doing everything I can. You call it selfishly, maybe, but self-centered, or whatever you want to term you want to put on it. But the rest of my life is going to be giving it back, and I want to look at my past as hopefully what that did was give something back to the world that can be a positive thing, and that's what's really gonna warm my heart, man. And that's what life is all about, right?
I hear you. All right, Matt Brown. Well, listen, thanks for the time on Junkie Radio, not just today, but throughout your career. It's been an honor to follow your career. Hopefully we can still keep in touch. I hope to see you at fights, you know what I'm saying? Because I want the fans to also have that opportunity to just tell you in person, you're the man, shake your hand, take a picture, get an autograph, whatever, because you mean a lot to a lot of people. Like even Junkie Nation, a lot of our listeners used to travel to fights because you were their favorite fighter. So I'm actually saying this from experience of hearing it, not just from watching it on TV. Like you really, really, you know, stoked a lot of people with emotion from your fights. So anyway, again, we wish you the best of luck with everything.
That's really cool to hear. And you know, you kind of forget that, but when I put that post up yesterday and retired, that's what it took me back, man. Like all the positive comments that I got and all the love that I got from so many people. You know, I think it was, I haven't looked at the analytics yet, but it had been one of the biggest posts that I've done probably since my last fight. So, yeah, that really touches me, man. And it really means a lot to me. So, you know, to all the MMA junkie people, man, I'm just grateful and thank you so much for all the support and have me on anytime, man. You know, talk about fights anytime. I still love fighting.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Matt. We really appreciate the time today. Congrats on a great career. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, guys.